You didn't follow the money. I've got two teams here, they're both rubbish. You're fired. You're fired.
Good evening and welcome to The Apprentice. You're fired. I'm Rod Gilbert. This week saw our candidates driving full throttle into the world of car advertising. Tasked with launching a campaign for a brand new model, Team Vitality pumped for a zippy 20-something crowd, while Graphene opted for an older target audience, about 1,000 years older as it happened. Later on, and back in the present day, a reluctant Elizabeth agreed to release one of the geese she'd taken from the Norman village.
I will let it go, but I feel it's a mistake.
Here to help us figure out who went from 0 to 60 in record time and whose wheels fell off before they left the forecourt. Please welcome tonight's panel of Apprentice fans and guests, advertising guru and CEO of creative agency Above and Beyond, Zaid Al-Zaidi, TV presenter Gabby Roslin, and comedian Katie Brand. Welcome to You're Fired. Zaid, welcome back. How do you think it went this time?
Well, I think in truth, buying a new car is a massive deal after a house. It's probably the most important purchase you'll ever make. And quite frankly, I don't think either team were able to create the appeal or desire that I think you'd want to feel as a buyer.
Oh, straight out the blocks there from Gabby. Did you enjoy this week?
I really did. I agreed with Lord Sugar at the end. It sounded like a piece of stretchy underwear that I might borrow in a skin-tight black dress.
You're talking Expando.
Expando, yes.
We'll come on to Expando a little later. Katie?
I love tasks like this. I always love a task on The Apprentice which is kind of vaguely connected to what I do anyway, because then I can be extra judgmental. Just sort of really sit there tutting from my armchair. I wouldn't do it like that. So I've directed things, and I work in TV and film and things like that, so this was excellent. I could ramp up my judgmental to 11. And I certainly did.
We will be discussing this week's task in more detail when we meet the 7th candidate to be fired. But first, in Apprentice news tonight, Andrew is worried his new metal jumper will slow him down.
I'm just worried about the time.
The hideous truth about Emmerdale finally dawns on Elizabeth.
I think this is a pretend village.
A cruel hypnotist primes James to go into a deep sleep whenever he hears the words, "Let them walk all over you."
Let them walk all over you.
And Joanna puts in her entry for vaguest boast of the series.
I've also done a lot of doing.
And that's tonight's Apprentice News. So, despite Sarjan's best efforts to drive off into the sunset, roof down with his perfectly coiffed quiff, stoically holding firm in the wind, Lord Sugar decided he'd run out of gas and booked him a taxi home.
Sergeant, in this task, I have not seen anything from you. And so, Sergeant, you're fired.
Appreciate you tipping so much. All the best, guys.
Please welcome Sergeant Shaw. That's not feel good. It does. That feels good, isn't it?
There's no booze in there?
You said you were gutted, you gutted?
Yeah, I still felt I had a longer way to go, but definitely gutted to lose in a task that I thought, you know, I tried to be creative. I am creative. I did a good job on it, actually.
You think?
Yeah, no. I'm blacking my way through this now. No, I didn't.
I didn't think you would go this week, though. Did you think you would go?
I didn't think so, because there's 4 of us that brought back into the bottom 3, and I felt, bottom 4.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Same thing. 4 of you in the bottom 3. That's
Yeah. And then Elizabeth being brought in, I was like, oh, here we go, Elizabeth, you're gone, and then, Sergeant, you're fine.
Because at that point, you must have thought, great, there's more people here, I've got less chance of going.
Yeah, I became complacent, which is a bad thing in the boardroom.
Do you think you could have fought harder in the boardroom and stayed then?
In hindsight, I wish I could have changed it a little bit, but, you know, in that bottom 3, I thought what I could, and I said what I could do. But at that moment, I was just like, Sergeant, say something. I'm creative, Lord Sugar, and that was it. That was the only thing that came up.
Did you think it was going to be a double triple, even quadruple firing?
Yeah, I thought a mass firing would have been fair. I think James, quite frankly, got away with it. I mean, he didn't lead the team at all.
Yeah.
Happy to take the back seat. I love the way in the boardroom he said, look, I've done a great job by putting the experts in their various roles, but equally he did nothing to coordinate the team, join up the dots. He definitely deserved to go.
Oh,
Gabby, 4 of them in there, were you surprised?
I was completely surprised. It was one of those times like, no! I have to say I completely agree with you as well. It was not, it shouldn't have been you. And you are creative. Look at the way you're doing it. With the hair.
There we go.
It's very good.
Katie, Sergeant, week 7.
Yeah.
That's not bad. How long do you reckon you'd last in there?
I feel like I'd be too experienced. I'd either be gone in week 1 or I'd win the whole thing. And there's literally nothing in between. Like, really nothing in between. I'd like to thank you as well. I was slightly worried my shirt was a bit low cut, but you've got a lot better about the whole thing, to be honest.
Mine's slightly bigger though as well.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, I think if everyone's going to be objectified here tonight, it's going to be you.
Sergeant, you've been strong on negotiations. Really strong, I thought, over the weeks. You've got a chance to stretch your creative legs here. And then Lord Sugar said you're not creative.
Do you know, I felt some of the boys have got onto this process and quite far without showing that creative side. At least I've tried to show it with the mood board. I mean, that was bad.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't have brought that up.
Yes.
This is the problem. This is why I got fired. I bring the wrong creative ideas to the table. In sixth form, my drama teacher said, Sergeant, you're not creative. But I didn't listen.
Just out with the blue. Passing you outside the school. You're not creative, mate.
I used to do
Strange thing for a teacher to tell you.
Oh, I did a lot of acting, right? And when we used to do acting, I used to like to be really creative with it. And some people never understood it. And the teacher...
Quite a lot of people now.
Yeah.
Mounted up, aren't they? Despite Sergeant's thrilling directorial debut, Team Graphing's Norman conquest came unstuck, and their campaign hit the skids. Less William the Conqueror and more Ethelred the Unready. Let's see where it all went wrong.
Sergeant, you were supposed to be the director. That's right. Okay? God knows what that was supposed to be.
As director, I will let him know you need to give me the free rein to make sure that I execute this well. First, we want this wide shot to just set the scene where we are.
4 scenes to be shot this morning. 4 only. I think we've got 20 plus.
I do like this shot. It is a nice shot. That's just a shot of the environment.
Right.
And then when
you
get
need
here,
to tell me what we're doing, 'cause I'm not sure.
I'm good at being creative. And actually, I did it.
But you can't just say it because you fancy saying it. I could say I'm good at brain surgery. I'm not.
So the location wasn't the quaint chocolate box sort of village that you were maybe expecting. What went through your mind when you rocked up at that place?
I genuinely felt like I hit puberty. I had no idea what to do. I genuinely had no idea what to do.
Those are 2 times in your life. 2 times in your life you've not known what to do. 1, in puberty, I remember that day well. 2, not rocking up at that Norman village.
Honestly, I looked at, I didn't even look at Elizabeth, didn't even look at James. I looked out the window and thought, what are we going to do with this? And bearing in mind, I was going to be the director. I had a set I couldn't work with. You could bring the best director from Hollywood, he still wouldn't know what to do with it. Yeah?
Steven Spielberg might have an issue with that.
May I just ask something? There's a bit where you were looking through pictures. One of the pictures was the Norman village with a shield at the front and the dead body hanging on it. And did you not know that the picture meant that you might go there?
I kind of left it in Elizabeth's hand. I wasn't the project manager. James should have made a call
James saw that.
and said, you know what, we shouldn't be going there. And Elizabeth was the one setting out the storyline, so she should have potentially pointed out, actually, the storyline wouldn't work here. Especially when she said, she's a mother leaving the house, and I was like, we kind of had to work with it.
She talked about being a mother leaving the house. Before they went there, Katie, Elizabeth said, we're doing a family car ad, we've got to be in a family home.
Yeah.
Do you think it mattered that the family had moved out 1,000 years earlier?
When they turned up, are they going to embroider an advert and add it to the Bayard tapestry? Is that the plan here?
They did try to go with humour, though. You're a comedian. You directed comedy
Thank you, Rod.
stuff and
Thank
things.
you.
Did you find it funny?
I did, actually. I have to say, I might be entirely alone on this, but I rather liked your advert, and I thought you did a good job, actually.
Let's come to Zaid then. Zaid, advertising expert. Car ads are often a little bit out there, a little bit surreal, sometimes sort of more playing on emotional things rather than the practicalities of a car.
I think if you think, you know, the average car probably costs £15,000, you want to feel like you're buying something for £15,000. So surrealism is used to project a really aspirational world to draw you in. I think the only thing, I mean, in this sense, I think this wasn't surrealism, it was just one big mistake. I don't think you get people to spend 15 grand through that kind of comedy. I think you need to create some kind of appeal, and I'm afraid you just didn't achieve it.
You got really into the directing, it has to be said. All the mise-en-scène you were talking about. Well, you got really into it.
I think when we got there, I realised, okay, you know, whatever we'd planned initially might not be funny anymore. So instead of doing 8 shorts, at least I did 26 to try and get more about the car and less about the village. But somehow the village still kept staying there in the background. Didn't move away.
Yeah. Well, Sarjan may have got himself fired, but there was one person who got herself everything else on this task.
May I suggest that there's a woman on the TV other side?
Yeah. Elizabeth, you came up with the conceptual idea.
Yeah.
Then you acted as the lead actress.
Right, so let me set the scene. I'm completely stressed, trying to get to work. I've got a business trip to go on.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
I've got an idea with the music as well. And then it goes dum 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 dum. It goes like that.
I can smell Elizabeth all over this. The failure of the task clearly was the video, and if she took on every single role there, then clearly she's responsible.
Different day, same reliable car.
Do you want me to do it as well and try the things? Stop, cut it there, and then just go to boom, 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 boom. It wasn't the Elizabeth show, Lord Sugar.
Well, it sounds like it was.
Was it the Elizabeth show?
100%.
So what was it like working with her then?
She is an interesting character. She's who she is. It kind of works in an industry where she's selling flowers because she can basically force people to buy flowers. But she can be quite hard work sometimes.
Gabby, Joanna said I can smell Elizabeth on all of this.
Very happy to smell Elizabeth anywhere, quite frankly. I think she's wonderful. She makes me laugh. And she wasn't too much of a bully, just a little bit bullish. So she was, you know, she wants her idea to get across. But I thought she was great, and I loved the way you two worked together. I just wanted James to say something and do something and bring the two groups together.
So James was supposed to be project managing this, Katie, but Elizabeth was sort of like a heckler.
Yeah, well, usually the advice is when you're heckled is to sort of invite the heckler to participate, because nothing will shut a heckler up quicker than offering them the microphone. I feel in Elizabeth's case that probably wouldn't work. It was like James became project manager and then immediately forgot he was project manager. So he almost seemed quite happy to let her take over. And I'm a fan of Elizabeth as well. I don't think she should have...
the one that got away this week?
No, I don't think she was the one that got away. And actually, I was sort of amazed that she was brought back into the boardroom like that. I thought, you know, I thought through the episode that she would say a suggestion. She does say it forcefully, which some people have an issue with. And then she would sort of say, all right, fine, if you want to do that. I think you're completely wrong. But let's just shut up and get on with it. So I think she's pretty good. I feel like I've been Elizabeth in many, many circumstances, so I have a bit of a soft spot. She's like my spirit animal, Elizabeth.
In the pitch, when the client asked about the sort of disconnect between the TV ad and the poster ads, Elizabeth, for the first time, was quite happy to go, over to you. Yeah. There's a lovely moment. Let's have a look at Bushra's reaction.
It's more Bushra to answer this question.
And that was brilliant. So it was almost like she was looking to see who the next person along the line was to pass the hot tip.
Zaid, Lord Sugar said that as project manager, James was like a passenger in a taxi that he knew was going the wrong way. What do you do in business if you find yourself in that situation?
I think as a really good business leader, you need to have 360-degree vision. You've got to be a couple of steps ahead of where you are. You've got to be able to look behind, look at your team players, and keep your eye on the ball. And I think he was just an arbiter, a peacemaker. He was facilitating everyone's point of view. He never stood his ground, and he never moved the decision-making in the right way. He never moved the project forward.
Let's talk about the branding and the name and things of the car a little bit. It was Joanna's idea to call it Expando.
Oh, no.
It sounds like a packet of condoms.
Gabby, you didn't like the name Expando.
No. Expando. I said, what's your new car? I bought an Expander. I mean, it is sexual. It's just strange.
Zaid, were you not a fan of the name Expando?
Not really. I think, again, you want to create a sense of desire. It sounded pretty off-putting to me.
I mean, you were trying to get the idea of an expanding family, I guess.
Yeah, I think this idea of putting a mirror up to people and going, you have a dreadful life, this is going to help you deal with your life. is such an uninspiring kind of approach. I wanted something with a bit more lift, a bit more energy.
Did you prefer the other concept than the sort of zippy getaway for the
Yeah,
20-something Miami?
I did in a way. It was a bit cheesy, but at least it was aiming for something bigger. It was trying to take you away from the everyday. The idea that you'll go somewhere better in this vehicle, I think, spoke to the target audience well. It was a bit more aspirational. Definitely going the right way.
Katie, what do you look for in a car when you're buying a car?
Cup holders. I'm really keen on there being an individual cup holder for every possible person in the car. I don't want to share cup holders. All my cars have been second-hand, including the one I drive now. I've basically totally missed out on about 2 decades worth of car technology. If it's got a CD player, I'm excited.
Sergeant, a lot of the feedback was that the TV ad, the Norman Village, and the poster campaign with the building blocks didn't marry up.
No, we completely agree, and that probably comes to the fact where there was a lack of leadership. Explando is very different to what we were trying to show in the video. The video is very different to what the slogan was showing.
Yeah.
So I
it was bollocks, is what you're trying to say. Sometimes you've got to summarise in this one. Well, back at the house, the boys share grooming tips in front of the mirror most mornings. Let's see what goes on behind the closed doors of the sanctuary that is the Apprentice bathroom.
So I thought I'd do a nice face mask tonight, get my hair really nice in the morning. Do you think she does these before she goes on? I have a face mask, bath, this doesn't scream professionalism, I don't know what does.
Can I just apologise to my mum and dad first? Do you know what? We had to bond.
Okay. Let's talk about the other team, Vitality, a little bit. Anissa, she said she wanted a creative task this week. She certainly got one.
She's great at what she does, Anissa. I think she's nice. She comes across great-ish, I guess, as well. But she's smart.
Zaid, Sarah said that Anissa was a bit too PR, a bit waffly. Did you think that was fair or not?
I don't think it was fair at all. I think she was trying to galvanise the room into contributing good ideas. And I think in every creative process there's a moment where you need to think big and you need to go on a bit, but equally you need to know when to stop and focus it in. And the other guys just weren't interested. So I think it was a bit unfair.
Yeah, but as you said, she had loads of ideas in that room. She was practically making away the whole of the wall. I thought it was going to go around the whole office writing things down. But it's when she got into the pitch when she admitted her mistakes. And that quite threw me. No, you're right, that was rubbish.
It was hilarious. Did you think, did anybody find it that they thought it was a car rental? Yes, they did! Did anybody say they thought it was for a holiday? Yes, they did! Did you enjoy the pitch?
I found her weirdly charming. It was so so unexpected that in this process to see people just doing that. It was like she wasn't aware that she was in The Apprentice. Like she sort of wanted it, and also as if she'd completely forgotten any role that she'd had in it up to that point. It was like she was just seeing it fresh and going, yes, awful. Who the hell did this? Should we have a drink?
She was very human in that moment.
Yeah, I really liked it.
She did seem to sort of, forget what her role was supposed to be. And backstage, of course, behind the scenes, the others watching her, sort of not quite as much
Well, at one point, I think someone should have said, someone take her down. Seems a bit extreme.
Michaela Zaid, she project managed Vitality this week. Is she one to watch, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching her progress through the competition, and I've generally been on her side. This time, I heard her shut down Andrew quite a lot because she perceived him to not be part of the bullseye target market. Therefore, why should I listen to you? I thought that was a bit controlling and a bit unfair. I think she admitted that he was beginning to wind her up, so I thought it was more convenient for her just to sideline him.
Yeah. While Graphene Joe's family Team Vitality went for fun-loving 20-somethings with Andrew and his lady chums, roof back, sunglasses on and heading for a beach over 4,000 miles away.
Ooh, what about Miami?
Miami? Do Miami.
Miami.
Going to Miami.
Does it have to be so literal with the name?
The car name is Miami.
Charles said of Michaela, it's her way or the highway. She difficult to work with, do you think?
Oh, I don't know, I really like Michaela, and I thought, you know, we saw this sort of glimmer of humility at the end where she talked about how she knows her accent's very broad and she was worried about how that would come across and this sort of little bits of vulnerability. I find the glasses confusing. I'm not going to lie.
Why just by confusing?
Well, is it a deliberate, is it like a costume? I think she's really professional. It didn't really bother me, her shutting the others down to some extent, because I think she, on this particular task, she rightly identified their target market. So when the other idea came in about the boy in the house, it was like, my immediate reaction was, oh, why are we having a boy at the centre of this when this is a car marketed at women? And she rightly, I think, brought it back. The focus is on the woman buying the car, not the boy.
Did they underuse Andrew, do you think, Gabby?
I really like Andrew. I wish he'd been listened to a bit more. But Michaela, a night out with Michaela and Elizabeth, please. This night.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Gabby, Elizabeth, Michaela, and you.
Thank you.
Jane has an interesting technique for visualising things. I've seen.
Yeah, it was quite incredible, wasn't it? I loved it. It was like, I just got to visualise things. It was like, do you have to do that all the time? And the best bit was when at the end she said, one of the others said, turn on surround sound. She was like, are you unable to function? Wait, if she ever does get fired, she's literally going to be like, he's going to say you're fired.
In the advertising world, when you work with creatives, you see a lot of that kind of...
I actually, today I haven't seen a lot of it, to be honest. I think it takes body language to a whole new level.
You're a fan of the Harrison guy.
Actually, I was quite disappointed with him this week. I wanted to see more from him, and I think he's got more to give. So I'm very frustrated. I actually do talk at the screen. I don't know if anybody else does, but every time it's on, I have a whole conversation with them, and they can't hear me. And I was telling him, do more, come on, a bit more Harrison. He didn't hear me. Funnily enough.
Harrison certainly wouldn't be the first to pose an eyebrow raiser in this series of The Apprentice, but he certainly joined their ranks this week, and it was a belter.
Question?
Yeah, bye.
Gone medieval. They didn't have cars then, did they?
So, unfortunately, Lord Sugar's decided not to invest in you, but he does have this advice for your future.
Sergeant, I think you have to take a hat off to him. He quit his job in HR to come and join the process because he was so confident that he would do well. But he put himself forward as a creative genius, but he produced a chaotic television advert. What I noticed of Sergeant throughout the process was that he's not short of coming up with ideas and putting things forward, and which is a good thing. But what he would need to learn to do in business is to make sure that he can adapt when situations change.
Next review there, some nice stuff, a bit chaotic, but lots of good ideas.
Look, Lord Sugar is the reason I entered this process, want to learn from a mentor, so I'll take his advice on board.
Yeah. What was your business plan?
My business plan was a photo business. However, I now run a recruitment agency.
Lord Sugar made his decision, but does our panel feel it was the right one? Zane.
The wrong decision for me. James was really smooth in the boardroom. That's what saved him. I think they should have kept you on.
Thank you. Gabby.
Wrong decision. It should have been James.
Katie.
I agree with the rest of the panel. I think it was a wrong decision. I think you did adapt to a really weird new situation and did the best you could with that advert, and I thought you did an all right job.
Interesting from the panel. It's time to see what the audience thinks. If you agree with Lord Sugar, hold up fired. If you disagree, hold up hired now, please.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, look at that. Look at that, Sergeant. I tell you what.
Big mistake, Lord Sugar.
That is as green as it gets. You are hired. Wow, it is green. So, as you know, nobody leaves here, Sergeant, empty-handed. Now then, I thought I would get you a lovely hamper. Unfortunately, we let James order it. He's got you a medieval... medieval hamper. We got some mead. Look at that. We got a 1,000-year-old loaf of bread. We've got some lovely ointments here. Look at this. This is goose feces hair gel. You can use that. Absolutely. That is made of genuine goose feces.
Is it?
Yeah. This is weasel juice. Weasel juice with a hint of stoat saliva, well known to stimulate the right hemisphere of the brain to unlock creativity. That would come in handy, mate. Sergeant, thanks for coming on the show. You've been a great sport. Let's have a look at your highlights.
I smell success and a bit of money. That is some serious hype.
If anybody can smell it, Sarge can smell it. Sergeant is amazing. He is
the nicest guy I've ever met in my life.
Yes, a little. Come on, we have to get a good price. That works for you and waiting.
He's brilliant. He is absolutely hysterical.
What's 11 times 2? My reputation as a vegetarian just gone down the drain.
I absolutely love Sarge. He never gets stressed out. Just a blessing.
I give him the fluids. It's now up to them to make the juice.
Take 2. Oh. I mean, I can't imagine ever living without Sarge again.
Please also back to us, Apprentice fans and guests, Zayda Zaidi, Gabby Roslin and Katie Brand. Next week sees our candidates taking over a doggy daycare. Who's going to be best in show and who will end up in the doghouse?
I've organised for you to take over a doggy daycare centre.
Look at the little one. Oh, he's loving that.
You're right, mate. Poo, bag, put the two together and clean up.
Oh, God. Put it in, though. We're not getting back out.
Help it! Get round. Yeah. I've just done his bottom.
You're not having a slice of my pizza, are you? I'm the one doing all the work. You're just standing there. What do you want to swap?
Oh, yes.
Andrew, can you actually physically do it?
No, we're not able to do it.
They're coming from here to here.
Go, go.
Oh. Sit. Cry.
Here. Massive poos, loads of them.
Join me next Wednesday at 10 for more You're Fired. Good night.
What did they really think of tonight's task? The Apprentice Honest Subtitles, available now on BBC iPlayer. And Lord Sugar will be a guest of the Premier League show tomorrow night here on BBC Two, discussing the upcoming North London derby at 10.